As we reported not that long ago, Republican freshman Representative Madison Cawthorn is actually facing a pretty tough road to even getting on the ballot this year, thanks to a legal challenge that is using the 14th Amendment in an attempt to keep him off the ballot. And in case you're not familiar with that, 14th Amendment clearly states, "No person shall be a representative in Congress who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same." And this lawsuit, brought by Free Speech for People, is arguing that Madison Cawthorn did in fact take part in an insurrection on January 6th, 2021. He spoke at that Stop the Steal rally. He got people riled up. He encouraged them to, quote, lightly threaten their lawmakers. So I would say that fits in that definition. And of course, so would the attorneys working for Free Speech for People, and they have filed this legal challenge in North Carolina to keep him off the ballot. Well, this week, Madison Cawthorn had his lawyers come out with their legal defense, and boy, is it a doozy. Because they're trying to use an amnesty act passed by Congress in the 1800s that gave Civil War soldiers amnesty, Confederate Civil War soldiers, in case they wanted to run for office. Okay, we're going to forgive you, Confederate soldiers, for, of course, trying to take over the United States and make it the Confederate States of America. That was an insurrection. I know we always refer to it as the Civil War, but we also have to look at it in terms of an insurrection. In fact, that's actually why the 14th Amendment was passed. But they made the carve out. They made the rule. It was 1872 Amnesty Act is what it's called. And Cawthorn's lawyers are saying, ah ha ha ha, because this gave amnesty to Confederate Civil War soldiers, obviously it gives amnesty to Madison Cawthorn? First and foremost, if you go with that defense, you're admitting that he took part in an insurrection. So there's that. Like right off the bat, that's a horrible thing to admit. You should be going to court arguing that he didn't take place in it. And of course, that is one of their arguments. But to already throw it out there to the media saying, hey, yeah, we got that 1872 Amnesty Act, we're good to go. You're admitting that he did the thing that everybody's accusing him of doing. Probably not the best move if you're his defense lawyers. So, Madison, if you can find other lawyers, I might suggest that. Here's another thing. This is from Talking Points Memo. North Carolina law is especially useful for challengers of Cawthorn's eligibility. It puts the burden on candidates to demonstrate, quote, by a preponderance of evidence of the record as a whole, that he or she is qualified to be a candidate for office. His actual candidacy, his eligibility has been put on hold right now as this legal process unfolds. So this is not just a shot in the dark anymore. It's not just we're hindering you with this lawsuit. They've actually put his eligibility on hold until the lawsuit plays out. And the burden of proof is on Cawthorn himself, his legal team, to prove that he is eligible. Of course, the plaintiffs here would have to pretty much prove that he took place in the insurrection. And again, I already gave you that evidence. The other point that I think is important to make here is that if this bid to keep Cawthorn off the ballot is unsuccessful, I think it would likely be due to the fact that the definitions, and I'm speaking only in legal terms because courts are super strict about this, folks. The definitions are not exactly clearly defined. Was January 6th an insurrection? Well, you post that question on Twitter, you're going to get 8 million different answers. Was it a rebellion against the United States? Again, everybody on social media has got an opinion, but none of those opinions matter at all. What matters is what the courts decide. If they say it was an insurrection, then it moves forward, and Madison Cawthorn would have to prove that he didn't take part in it. If they say it's not an insurrection, case closed, it's over. And again, I think it was. I feel it meets the criteria for that. I'm not on the panel that's going to be deciding this. Neither are you, most likely. If you are, hey, let me know. Reach out. We'd love to have you on. But other than that, no. Like, we don't get to make that determination. And everybody always seems to forget that when we talk about these stories. We're not the courts. We're not the judges. We're not the prosecutors or the defendants. We don't get to decide what the definition of something is. And a lot of times in court, unfortunately, it does not go the way that we think it should. The other thing about that 1872 Amnesty Act is that it wouldn't even apply to Cawthorn in the first place. It only applied to the soldiers in the Civil War on the Confederate side. So not even a good legal defense if you wanted to go that route and admit he took place, but he's got amnesty when he doesn't even have amnesty under that piece of legislation. So there it is, folks. That's the big defense from Madison Cawthorn. But ultimately, it's up to that panel to decide whether or not January 6th was an insurrection or just a really bad day at the Capitol.